This is part 2 of a 4-part video series on how to set up a Bitcoin Cash merchant store for selling a single product for Bitcoin Cash. In this video, I'm going to cover the front end, which is a React web app, and how to customize it for your own store and product. So real quickly, here's what I'm going to cover in this video. I'm going to walk through the README file of the repository. Then we're going to clone the repository and install dependencies, and then I'll walk you through the blue widget.js file, which is the primary file that you need to customize for your own product. And then I'll also review the environment files, which set a couple important environment variables. So the repository for this front end that I showed in the first video is on GitHub under the Permissionless Software Foundation group in a repository called Merchant Demo SPA. So SPA stands for Single Page App, if you're not familiar with the nomenclature. So this app is written in React, and it also uses the Bootstrap website framework to handle the coloring and formatting. That's not super important. If you come here, I have a link to the demo that I demonstrated in the first video. And if you are not a developer, if you're a merchant and you want some help finding a developer who can customize this software for your product and store, I have a link here which will take you to fullstack.cash, and there's a few resources here. First of all, fullstack.cash is an extension of the Permissionless Software Foundation, which is a group of JavaScript developers building software like that. So you can contact us that way and we can help you find a developer. There is also a Telegram channel that is just set aside for developers in the Bitcoin Cash and SLP token space who are looking to be hired. So that's another resource to find developers. So the rest of this video is going to assume that you are a developer, and we're going to walk through how to customize this template for your own product. So this section calls out some of the major features. To install this, let's go ahead and get into that. Here are some command line arguments. I've got my terminal open here, and I'm in an empty directory, and I'm running Ubuntu Linux. All this software developed by the Permissionless Software Foundation assumes that you're running on Ubuntu Linux. If you're on a different operating system, your mileage may vary. So let's start by cloning this code repository on GitHub, and that's this command right here. And then we can enter the new directory that was created. And then we can install the JavaScript dependencies with npm install. Before I do that, I am using Node version 16 and npm version 8. These are both a little old, but they will work with these versions. It should also work with newer versions. And then, yeah. So then you can install the dependencies with npm install, and that might take a minute. Oh, I was just reminded that there is a bug. This will hopefully be fixed in the near future, but there's a discrepancy with one of the dependencies. I know how to fix it. I just need to get in there and fix it. So in addition to install, you have to run this force command. It's perfectly fine. Nothing will break. It's really just a minor detail that, but requires, that's more irritating than dangerous. I just need to dig in there and find that call out and remove it. Okay, so now with the npm dependencies installed, you can start a development version by running npm start. And this will open that single page app in your browser and running on a local host. So this is all running locally on your computer. This is all very standard if you're familiar with React development. So here's that same app that we were looking at. It's running locally on our computer. As we edit and make changes, they'll automatically be reflected in this app. So we've covered these first two steps. all the code for this, for the customization, is in this file called Blue Widget. And that is in, so I have my text editor here, and you'll have this merchant demo SPA directory, that's where we're working. In the source subdirectory, components, and then this file called Blue Widget. And this is the one file that controls most of what you see here, including this form and all the animations. So the image here, you're going to want to change that for your product. That is stored right here. If you follow that same pattern, you can replace that image with an image of your own. The price is also hard-coded. If you scroll down, so here's the title, which is this right here, and then the price is right here, so you can change the price that way. This product description is right here, so you can edit that. These order instructions are right here, so you can edit that right here, change that email address. And then the order form is a little further down. It's right here, this functional component called order form. So if you want to change the wording or some of these fields, this is where you can add and remove those fields. And then once this part is filled out, it will hide this component and display this payment details component. This is what displays the QR code and converts the fiat price to Bitcoin Cash. Oh, and it's having a hard time because, and while you're developing, it's always a good idea. I'm in Firefox, but all the browsers have this hamburger menu and something equivalent to more tools, and then these web developer tools where you can get a console log. And so what's happening is it's trying to reach out to the back end, which I don't have running. So let me just start that up. And this will let us move on to the next screen. So now, I'm going to clear that. If I hit this, it should go through. Okay. So now this is displaying the payment details, that QR code and the Bitcoin Cash, and this little checking payment confirmation animation pops up. That's all controlled by this payment details functional component. And then finally, and then this check payment animation, that's the little animated spinner that comes up. And then finally, when the payment is detected, like I showed in the first video, that's this component. That will be shown and the other components will be hidden. So this one file controls the whole user experience. As I said, this is a template. It's the same template that was used to create wallet.fullstack.cache. You can see the footers are the same. So that's all editable, but most of that you shouldn't need to touch. It's just this one file that you need to be concerned with in terms of editing this to customize it for your own product and store. So, yeah, I walked through that file. So this is the development version. So once you make those changes and you're happy with it, you'll fork this. You should have fork it to begin with when you clone it, and then make those changes, save it, and then you're going to push your fork up to a web server, and then you'll build the final production with this npm run build command. And again, this is in the README right here. So we covered npm start, and right now I'm covering npm build. So what it's doing is it's compiling all of your development files into static files that can be served with software like Nginx or Apache. And it will generate this build folder, and all of your compiled final front-end software will be in this build folder. And this is what you would serve with Nginx or Apache. So one last thing to call out in terms of configuration are these .env files, and there's two of them. There's .env development, which specifies the local backend. You shouldn't need to change this, and so this tells it where to find the backend server when you're running locally in a development environment, and this is the default. But then this .env.production is where on the internet the backend for your app should be, and that's the backend which I'll walk through in the next video. That has the database that processes the orders. This is where I have the backend for the live demo. So you don't want to use this because that'll send your orders to my server. You need to change this to be your own backend server, which I'll cover in the next video. And so that's just something that you need to have for when you push to production. And if you need technical support, there's a link here to our Telegram channel, which is a community support channel. And then again, as I mentioned, if you need to hire a developer, there are resources here. And that concludes this video.